Hello, a very good morning to you all. Welcome to today's Totally Beads Live with me, Natalie. I'm going to be making some little Briolette wraps today. So we're going to be making essentially a veil, but we're going to be using some wire and twisting the wire so we can make these pretty little decorative kind of tops to the gorgeous hematite that we're using today. It's a really nice kind of non-intrusive way to wrap a drilled stone, which isn't going to take up too much of the stone itself. So what I'm going to be using is lovely little kind of Briolette, kind of pear-shaped, teardrop-shaped hematite. They are plated in the most beautiful colours. So we've got blues, we've got goldy greens, bronze, mermaid kind of pinks, lots of beautiful coloured actual hematite, cabochon type pieces to work with, but also lots of lovely coloured wire as well. So I've got a silver colourway, a pink, a gold, kind of a copper colourway, and there's going to be enough in your kits today. You're going to get 3, so that's going to be enough to make earrings and a pendant as well. They're really, really easy. This is a wire make, but it's the simplest wire make you could possibly do. And as I say, it's not too intrusive. It doesn't cover the stone. I'll pop you down on the mat quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. So beautiful little earrings, dainty. They're a little bit like acorns, I think. You've got those lovely little tops to them. Really easy to create that little twisted wrap at the top using wire. So the wire that I'm using today is a 0.6, which is 22 or 23 gauge. I think it's 23, but sometimes you might get a reel and it'll say 22 gauge on it, but it's 0.6. That's going to come in your pack. I'm going to be using for each one about 30 centimeters, so about 12 inches in length. Of course, you can make that much longer if you want to cover more of the stone. But the cabochon type stones that I'm using are drilled from side to side. This works from using like a through drill, but as long as it's drilled at the top, then you can do this, and it's really, really simple. So I'll say a quick good morning to you, and then I will get to the website and show you the goodies that you can get today. Rachel says, good morning from a cloudy Barrow, but the sun is peeping through. Jan's in a dull Sudbury. Good morning to Carol. Good morning to Heather. Hello to Joanne. She's very overcast in Coventry today. Time for some lovely beading. Camille's in as well. She's a little bit cloudy here. Hope the sun shines on you all. That's cute, isn't it? Yeah, very overcast here as well. But it is what it is, isn't it? It has got much warmer, I think, this week, but we will see. As long as it's not too wet and not too windy, I'm not ready to say goodbye to summer, but I do love the autumn, as I'm sure you know. So over we go to the website. We are on totallybeads.co.uk. This is where you can find lots of lovely products and the kits that I'm going to be making with today. Everything you need is included other than your tools, and I explain what tools you need. They're very minimal. So into the video tutorial category, you can go down onto the main menu here, or you can go into the drop down section. And when you arrive on the page, you should see them at the top here. So I've been using a little bit of gemstones this week. On Monday, we made the beautiful braid cluster pin necklaces. Today, I'm going to be using hematite. And on Monday, I'm going to be using some different hematite as well. So here we go. I didn't name them after anybody. I just called them what they are. So Briolette wrap, hematite jewellery. So you can see here we've got 4 gorgeous colours for you. We've got a 2 for 7 offer on as well. So if you wanted to get 2, then you absolutely could. If you wanted to get 2 of the same colour, you absolutely can take advantage of that discount. The kits for you today are only £3.99, and that's going to be enough to make a pendant and a pair of earrings, and they work exactly the same. You just don't need to add an earring hook on. You can just add it to a cord or your favorite chain, whatever it is that you like. So this is the beautiful blue. I just want to show off the colours really. So in your kits, you're going to get your hematite drops. You're going to get your copper wire, which is, I say, is a 0.6 or a 22 gauge. You're going to get some little jump rings, which are 5x1, and your earring hooks as well, which are nickel free. If I hover over, you can just see me me and my phone, to be honest, because they're that shiny, but they've got a beautiful colour to them. And that's exactly what you're getting in your kit. You don't need to, there's nothing else you need to add into there. Everything you need is in there. So these are the Hematite Drops. They are 18mm in size, so nice and small and dainty. And the wire I'm using is copper. It's dead soft. But it's plated in different colours. So this one, it is the silver. So I've put the silver and the blue together. We have the gorgeous bronze. Love these, really, really pretty. I should give them a little clean up before I photograph them, because I'm pretty sure that's probably my fingerprint. They're very, very shiny, very, very lovely, gorgeous little colour. This is a copper coloured wire. It's lovely. It's got a really, really pretty colour to it. And I think it matches those bronze Hematite Drops. Really lovely. If you want to add anything else in, you can get one piece of the Hematite Drop for just 79 pence. And then a full reel of wire is £2.50. So you can see here, if you want to add any extras in, you absolutely can. So this is your gorgeous Briolette drop. And then we have the green gold, which is also a really beautiful colour. It's exactly what it says, really. It's plated in a gorgeous gold finish, but it has a green tone to it as well. Each of these are going to be slightly different. I'll show you this one down on the mat in a minute so you can see the difference in the colour. And you can get, I've used the more gold side at the front, but when you get them, they're coated the same, but obviously the way that hematite takes that coating can give slightly different colour variations. But these are on the gold wire. So it is copper wire coated in gold. And then lastly, we've got the mermaid one. This is what I'm talking about in terms of how it takes the plating. They will be the same, they will be a match, but you'll be able to see on this one particularly, you've got predominant pink as a colour, but you've got purples, greens, golds, and that really gorgeous mermaid finish. And that is in a rose pink coloured wire. So everything you need in your kit, your Hematite Drops, your 0.6mm copper wire, your jump rings and your earring hooks, but you're going to get 3, so you'll be able to make a pair of earrings and a matching pendant as well. Just £3.99 today for your wonderful kits, or 2 for £7. If you need to change the currency, we do ship worldwide, and you can do that right here at the top of the page. Just select where you want it to go, and your shipping information will be there as well. I don't know the details on that, but we are very good and very quick at getting things out, I believe. So let me just check. If you've got any comments or questions, please let me know, and I'll do my very best to either respond or answer you. Good morning to Lisa. Hello to Mina. How are you doing? Good morning to Anne. Yolanda's in as well. She says happy hump day, which is Wednesday, of course, halfway through the week. Good morning to Just Me. And Heather says she's loving the bronze. So really pretty, really straightforward to do. I'll take you down on the mat so you can inspect these a little bit closer. These are the cabochons. I'm going to call them cabochons. They're not really. A cabochon has a flat back. These have got a beautiful kind of rounded little, they're just like little drops. So this is your gorgeous blue coloured coating. Very shiny, very pretty. Your mermaid pink. So you can see we've got, struggling to just focus because there's stuff on my mat. So I've got blues on here, greens on here. You can see how gorgeous that is. You can just see reflections in it, to be honest, because they just catch the light so lovely. This one is the gorgeous bronze, which I'm feeling today. And the hematite has got a lovely kind of weight to it, but these are not too heavy. They're not too heavy for earrings because we've only got a little 18mm. And you can see they are top drilled. So the drill hole goes from side to side across the top here, which is perfect for this type of wrap and twist. And then here we have the gorgeous greeny gold. So it is predominantly gold. But if I suggest maybe picking this one up, can you see there's that gorgeous green tone to it as well? Really, really beautiful. And all I'm doing is just twisting the wire along the top. So that's really secure. It's not going to come out. It does go through the drill hole, but it's only going to just cover slightly the top of the bead. So you're basically just covering that little peak. Joanne says tough choices, or maybe just grab them all. You know, I love blue, but that green gold is beautiful. It really, really is. I mean, if you wanted to really multi-buy, you could create a necklace. And if I just mix them all up, you know, you could add like little kind of fringe effect and just attach them onto a chain, running maybe along the top. Obviously, pretend the earring hooks aren't there. But you've got the gorgeous green gold, the beautiful mermaid pinks, just to show you the mermaid pinks so you can see. It's a really lovely example of the blues and the greens and the pink on that one. I haven't picked anything out, like, you know, I didn't spend ages just choosing the best one. Look at that. I literally just grabbed the colours. So I did consider which side I wanted to be the front. Look at that. Sorry, getting very excited. But there does have essentially a front and a back to this twist, because I'm going to be tucking the wire up at the back to secure it. But it's really straightforward and really, really quick to do. So I will move those off to the side. I've made all my earrings. So I'm going to make a couple of pendants today because it is so super quick. So all I need in terms of tools, I'm going to use my wire straighteners. I always use my wire straighteners to straighten out any wire I'm using, just to make sure it's got a lovely kind of starting point to work with. There's no kinks in there that I don't want to be in there. You can use your round nose pliers or your bail step pliers, and I'm only going to be using those to turn a loop. So if you haven't got them, it really doesn't matter. You can use anything really. I suppose you could use like maybe a very thin pencil or anything really. It's just kind of like a dowel to help shape that bail. Round nose pliers would do just as good a job. Some wire cutters just to trim the ends, and something to tuck in. So I'm going to use chain nose or tweezer nose pliers, and I might need 2 pairs of flat nose or chain nose pliers, or even a jump ring opener just to open my jump ring at the end to attach the ring cup. In terms of my components, well, I'm going to need 1 pretty bead. So I'm going to we'll go for the mermaid pink to start off with. For 1 earring, I'm going to need 1 of my little stones. I'm going to need an earring hook. So this comes in a lovely pink. And I'm going to need a small jump ring. So I'm going for an outer diameter 5x1. And then, of course, I'm going to need my wire, which is the 0.6 or 22 gauge. So that's all you need. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure about 30 centimetres or 12 inches of that wire. You can straighten it through your fingers. So if you don't have a wire straightener or nylon coated pliers, that doesn't matter either. You can just use your fingers. But I'm just going to straighten that out. So I've got about 30 centimetres or 12 inches. And I'm just going to cut that off, or straighten it up if it comes in like a little section in my kit. You can see just by handling it, I'm already putting little kinks in. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be perfect. It will look perfect when you've finished with it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 0.6 wire and I'm just going to place it through the drill hole. So you can have a little look and think, which side do I want to use to be the front? And I'm going to place that through and position my little hematite drop into the center. And to get the center, I'm going to just bring up the 2 ends of the wire. And then as I pull down, I should be able to find the center there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross these wires over each other, but I'm going to pinch in at the top first. So I want this pinch to be quite close to that little peak at the top of the stone. So you can see I've got my little point there. I want it fairly even. And I just want to bring that down fairly close. Doesn't have to be touching, but just crossing over at the top of that peak. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist my wire. So I've already crossed the wires over. So again, I'm just going to give it a little straighten out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold between my finger and my thumb where those two wires cross. And I'm just going to twist it. Now, when you twist your wire, I'm just going to be turning it around and just holding on to the stone. If you want to, you can hold the twist and you can twist the stone if that's easier for you. But all I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my fingers, whichever way is easier. I find I've got more control over it by twisting the wire. And you can see how I've twisted there. It's got a slight little kind of wobble in it. If I'm twisting, I'm just kind of pulling on it gently as I go. And that's going to give me a nice even twist. Now, if you're making earrings and you want this to match absolutely perfectly on each one, you can count your twists if you wanted to. So you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, count your twists as you go. And then when you do your next earring, and you can do this in stages, so you could get to this point and then start your next one, you could count to make sure you've got the same amount of twists. All I'm going to do is just keep twisting. So again, you can either twist the stone if it's easier and just grip the wire where it crosses over. But you tend to, when you do it that way, get one wire to kind of wrap around the other. If I've got them splayed and I'm just twisting like where the wire is, then that twist will kind of move up nice and evenly. If you get to the point where you think, well, I'm struggling to twist it, just take your nylon coated pliers or your chain nose pliers and just support the wire a little bit further up closer to the twist, and then you can carry on just moving up the wire. Now, you can get wire twisting tools. I do have one somewhere. I thought I got it out, to be honest. This is a wire twisting tool, and I do tend to twist wire sometimes using this, not necessarily for these, but if you wanted to twist your wire first and you had something like this, all that is you put the wire through these little holes, and then I'd link the wire onto something like a door frame, so that's holding the wire, and then it's just a case of turning the handle, and that will give a nice even twist as well. I think doing it this way with this gauge of wire particularly just works better just twisting by hand. So I'm going to twist up towards the end of the wire. Now, I've started off with a 30 centimeters, so my twist would be around 15 centimeters if I went right to the end, because of course we're just folding over those two wires. So I want to create a fairly even twist. What I would do when I'm happy with the twist is I'm just going to cut off with my flush nose pliers those two little ends, so that's nice and even. And then I can always go over it with my nylon coated pliers just to compress it, just to straighten it out a little bit if there's any bends or kinks. You can do that, of course, with your chain nose pliers as well. What you tend to find, though, is the more you kind of touch the wire with your tools, the more you're going to kind of harden it, which isn't the end of the world. But if you've got your nylon coated pliers, that's going to make sure we've not got any kind of marks on the wire. So it's not quite even there, but I'm quite happy there or thereabouts with the twist that I've produced. Now I'm going to take my bail step making pliers or my round nose pliers, and I'm going to position it so where those two wires cross at the top of the hematite, I'm going to place my round nose pliers or my bail step pliers just there and just going to hold it. Now, because I'm going to attach a little jump ring and my earring hook eventually, I want my loop to be facing this way round. So I'm going to bend the wire forward over the top and then reposition my bail step making pliers on my round nose. The jaws are now above and below the wire. And then I'm just going to bring that wire all the way round, reposition my pliers again, just to bring it underneath, because we're going to make a little wrapped loop. So by using the bail step making pliers, I'm using the second smallest step on there, which is going to mean the loop I've got is going to be this big. If you're making your pendant, consider what cord or chain you're going to put through, because you want to just attach this directly on. So you're going to just have your chain going through. So if you need a larger loop, then you can use a larger step. If you want a smaller loop, of course, you can make a smaller step. And if you're using your round nose pliers, the smaller you go is away from the handle, the larger you want that loop is towards your hand. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to hold over. You can keep it in the bail step pliers if you want, or you can hold with your pliers that loop to keep it in place. And I'm just going to bring it round, and we're going to make a wrapped loop. And we're just filling that space like normal, like we normally would do with a wrap loop. So we're filling the space between the loop and the bead. Don't worry if your loop slightly moves out, we can reposition that later. So at the moment, I'm just bringing that wire round and round and round and round and round. And we've just filled the space between the loop and where those wires originally cross. You can see here we've got the drill hole where the wire is coming through. We're going to keep going to cover that drill hole. So hold it however you want. If you want to hold it upwards, I'll hold it upwards so you can see how it's going across the front of the stone. Just bringing that wire round, and we're bringing it round quite tight. We just want these loops, these wraps to sit underneath each other. We're not crossing them over, we're just bringing that twisted wire round like one until we've covered as much of the stone as we want. So I'm just going to cover that top little point, that little peak. And then here at the back, I'm just going to cut off. I've gone, this is now my front. I did have this at the front before, but I'm going to say this kind of bluish side is my front now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off any excess wire pretty much in the middle of the wrap, just cutting off that little twist. And then with my pliers, I'm going to flatten that or tuck it in. So what you can do is you can give it a little bend and it can just sit underneath that last wrap. But we're just going to press that in and tuck it in so there's nothing that's going to catch on anything, and just to secure it in place. And then all you need to do is just give it a little press. So if you need to kind of straighten the loop at the top, you can do. If you want to just kind of reposition any of these wires, you can do. But I'm holding that fairly closely to the stone now, and that's going to hold it in place. It's not going to come off. It's nice and secure. All I need to do now is just finish my pendant by popping it on a chain, or if I'm making it into the earring, then I'm just going to open my jump ring. So I'm going to take my pairs of pliers, give it a little twist. This is outer diameter 5x1, so a nice small jump ring, and they're all going to be in matching colours to your kind of wire and your earring hook. And then I'm sliding on the earring hook and then just closing it up like so. And then I will repeat that process. So I've got 2 matching earrings. It's really, really that straightforward. I'll do another one. I'll do the blue this time, and I'll do it in the silver, just to show you how simple it is. So to repeat, we're going to take our 0.6mm wire, and I'm going to cut about 30 centimetres, which is 12 inches. So I'm just going to straighten it out through my nylon coated pliers or through my fingers. And I'm going to trim my wire to size. I'm going to, if you want to use a twisting tool, then you twist your wire first and then position it through. But you would, it's the cross of the wire going through the stone that creates that nice twist. If you were twisting the wire first, then you would just use that wire as you would normally for a Briolette wrap. Whereas I like doing it this way because I think it just becomes a little bit more part of the piece. So my beautiful bead is just going to go on the top through that little point, so where the drill hole is, and bringing the 2 wires up together so I've got an even size. Usually if I do a Briolette wrap and I'm not twisting wire, I have one end longer than the other, and I'd wrap one wire around the other before I do that wrapped loop. But bringing them up so I've got the centre, just kind of going with the curve of that stone really, just where that peak is. Just want to get that fairly close. So by just giving it a little pinch, I've crossed those wires over each other. And then depending on how they're splayed out will create the twist really. So I'm now just pinching where the wires cross, and I am flipping the wire. It's just giving it a little twist. And then just moving. You can just move your fingers and your thumb up the wire. You don't have to hold it with tools. But as I'm twisting, I'm not pulling on it much. I'm just kind of bringing it across, but I'm moving my fingers up as the twist goes. Don't worry if we kind of twist that kind of, putting bends in it here. We can straighten it up again at the end. Just little twists, moving along towards the end of the wire. It's just the flick of my wrist really that's creating that twist. If you prefer, you can twist the stone and just pinch hard where the wires cross. Using the 0.6 wire means it's not too delicate. It's very unlikely that your wires are going to snap because you're essentially doubling that up. So when I've reached the end, I'm just going to trim off. And then because I've started with my fingers, I'm just going to straighten that up. I don't know what you're talking about. Heather says she's already started her Christmas presents. Well, I think if you're making things for Christmas, you best start now. I haven't got anything. I've started ideas for Totally Beads lives for Christmas, if that counts. So you can see now I've got that lovely twist running up my wire. And now I'm going to make my little bail. So I'll use the round nose pliers this time round just to show you how it works exactly the same. If I'm making my earrings and I use the bail step pliers, then the bail step is going to make the same size loop on either one. I apologise if you can hear drilling in the background. If I'm using my round nose, I'm still just going to pop my pliers above where that twist is. I do apologise for the noise in the background. I'm going to bring that wire above so it's facing now across the front. Reposition the pliers so the jaws are now above and below. I'm not holding too hard on that wire, just enough to shape it. Reposition again and round the front to create my loop. Now I'm going to wrap all the way around, just filling that space between the loop and the bail and bringing it over so it now covers the drill hole. And just manipulate the wire with your fingers. So I think that would probably be sufficient for me. You can straighten up your loops if you need to. Sometimes you might just want to give it a little press. And then when you're happy where your wire is going to be, again, I could do this as the front or that as the front. I'm just going to cut off and tuck in. So what you'll find is as you bring that wire round, you might be able to just squish it up. So if you're bringing the wire round If you ever need to go back again and you think, actually, I want to loosen it up, I want to tighten it, just unravel it and give it a little straighten up again, because we want these wires to sit nice and flush underneath each other. And you can just bend it round with your fingers. Just fill in that top of the space, making sure that the wires are sitting underneath each other, fairly close to stone. And then with your wire cutters, cut off so it's kind of in the middle towards the back. And then with a pair of pliers, I just want to tuck that end underneath. So you can just loosen that wire at the top, be very gentle, and then just take it with the pliers and squish it in underneath. So it's nice and smooth, there's nothing catching. You always want to make sure there's nothing that's going to be sticking out or catching on the back of your earring, because you don't want it to tangle in your hair or anything. But just giving it a little push up and that will sit underneath. And again, if you think, oh, that could be neater or I need to tighten that, then very gently you can just compress with your tool. And then just attaching onto an earring hook or your necklace chain, whatever you like. So here we have our lovely little Briolette earrings with the twisted wire and a matching pendant for you. So that is how the earrings look. I'm going to just tweak that wire in a little bit more on my pendant, push it in a little bit to the stone. That's better. So we have the gorgeous blue in the silver. We have a very pretty mermaid pink. I've got a gorgeous green and gold colourway on the gold wire. The mermaid is on a pink wire. And then we have this beautiful bronze, and that is on a copper coloured wire. So there are gorgeous earrings today. In your kits, you're going to have enough to make a pair of earrings and a pendant. They're only £3.99 each, or 2 for £7, and they're available on the Totally Beads website. As Sheila says, very pretty. Thank you very much. Rachel says, love these hematite drops, especially the mermaid pink. And Debbie says, twisting the wire makes such a different look. Just they kind of seem a little bit more substantial maybe than just a straightforward wire. I think it's a really pretty way to decorate the top of them, and it's not going to cover too much of the stone, so whatever you've got, on show, which is lovely when you've got those lovely colours. If you want to head back over to the website, you'll find these. They've not been named at all. It is just called Briolette Wrap Hematite. They're all there for you. £3.99 for the blue with the silver, the bronze with the copper, the green gold with the gold, and the mermaid pink on the pink wire. And they are £3.99 or £2 for £7. You're very welcome. Jan says, thank you, Natalie. Another pretty make. As the drilling is starting, and I have done 2 and shown you how to do them, I am going to leave it there for today. I do apologise for the noise in the background. I did specifically ask them to keep quiet, but there you go. I'm going to be back with you on Monday, and I'm going to be doing some hematite necklaces. So they're not using these. I've got the most gorgeous beads. They're almost kind of, I suppose I'd call them like tile beads, really. They're really, really lovely, gorgeous colours again, making little links, got lovely little connectors. And I think they're very party season. And if you've got anywhere to go, like I went out last night, I went to see Lady Gaga last night. Oh my God, she was amazing. Oh, she was just phenomenal. So yeah, I would have been very much at home wearing one of these makes that I'm going to do on Monday. But I was good and I thought, well, I won't wear it. But kind of wish I had. Joanne says, nice, easy make. Thank you, Natalie. Have a great day all. Thank you so much for being with me. Camille says, very cute. Just Me says, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for being with me today. I hope you all have a very wonderful weekend. I hope the weather stays fairly dry. And please do share the makes that you create. I'm nosy. I always say I'm really nosy. I love to see what you do. And I've had a few people in the Totally Beads handmade group who've tagged me in or just written my name and said I've made these using these, and I've seen a lot of beautiful bracelets lately. So it's really gorgeous to see what you do, what you make. And if, of course, you get these kits and you do make and something's not quite working, or you're not sure of something, or you've got a different idea and take on it, then, drop any questions you've got in there. The group is full of very helpful people. We can always advise, and I'll always try and respond to your comments here. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And I will see you on Monday. If you